All right, well, we all have to start somewhere, and this is my start. So, this is Myles, and basically, I'm gonna be doing these voice recordings, vlogs, whatever you want to call it, um, just recapping what's going on in my life. I'm thinking I can just talk about the past week and then what the next week is gonna look like. Um, This is mainly going to be for close family and friends, but I mean, I'm going to put it out there just because I figure the main purpose of it all is to get feedback. And obviously, close family and friends are really going to give you the best advice. Maybe not all the time, but I just find that looking back on the past, a lot of the big decisions that I've made in my life, my family and friends were always there to kind of make sure that I was always being myself through it all. So I figured that by going through this and putting myself out there, this could expose me to a lot more opinions and just get almost like a crowdsourced opinion of what's going on. Maybe nobody gives a shit and keeps going on with their day. Doesn't pay any mind to me putting this out. I don't care. For those who do take the time to listen, I hope that I you know that you can feel inspired to maybe see something I'm doing, and if it sparks any kind of creativity, whatever it is, just voice it and spark some dialogue and yeah, just keep things genuine and creative and above all, just keeping in touch with close friends and fam. So um, yeah, to bust the mark basically. Uh, that is my friend Donovan Clayton's podcast. So go check it out. I'll post a link or something. But yeah, he was one of the inspirations to help me get this off the ground. Literally thought of it this morning. So big up to Dono. Um, but yeah, basically, I just finished what was a pretty big achievement that I would just briefly talk about. So I did something called the Calendar Club Challenge, and basically what that is, it takes the concept of every day of the month. So this past month was March, and March has 31 days in it. So basically the concept was you run the equivalent of whatever day it was. So on March 1st, I ran 1 mile. On March 2nd, I ran 2 miles. And coming down to the end, I was running March 30th, 30 miles. And when I say run, I mean, don't get the idea that this is a non-stop run. Myles is a beast. Nah. I am just as human as everyone else, and um, basically, I'm gonna just show y'all what I did to kind of tackle this beast of a goal, just being as mortal as everyone else. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully, other people like myself mainly can apply it to anything else in life. So, um, yeah, I guess the way this seed got planted to start running. This was, let's say, December of 2018. And again, I was with my family on a trip, and it was the end of the year, so just reflecting on everything that had happened. And one thing that struck me about getting together with my family on this trip is that we were in the States and we were on this ship in the middle of the ocean, and no matter where we were, everyone in the family had their own little fitness routine. And it was almost nuts because I had just come from not seeing everyone for months, and I was in Canada in my own little groove, and that groove didn't include exercise at all. I was just hustling, working hard on school, on my business, and I literally just put my personal health on the back burner. So um, it was immediately a wake up call. I was like, damn, these people are putting me to shame. I can't run for 2 minutes without getting out of breath. I'm supposed to be in the top shape of my life. Here are people in their 50s and they're just absolutely crushing it. So I was inspired by them, I guess, to really just go and firstly, start small and join them on their little routines, go on my own little runs. But I think by the end of the year, I came up to them one night at dinner and I was just like, okay, guys, I'm going to run a marathon. And everyone in the typical fashion is like, what are you talking about? Give me. I can't honestly say if they gave me all the reasons why I shouldn't. Um, but I said I was gonna do this, and I might have even put it out there to a couple of people, and I even started to train at the beginning of 2019 with the mentality that I was gonna do this marathon. So the ways that I went wrong there is that in what would seem like a regular, normal way of doing things, where you say, I'm going to do a marathon, I'm going to do it in September when Scotiabank Marathon is happening, and, just do what everyone else is doing. But where that got me was essentially, let's say, by the summer when I was in my peak hustle, as I said, like health was just on the back burner. I was not running at all. And I remember just leading up to this marathon in September, I literally ended up just like kind of winging it. And the week before, I might have done a couple of runs, but on the day of, myself and Rosa, we just went out and like we technically crushed it for people that kind of didn't really put in any. It's funny. That's the thing. We didn't do a marathon. That's the whole point of this story, is that we ended up doing the half, and big up to Rosa for doing the half. That's absolutely amazing and unreal. But the reason why for me this wasn't as amazing of an experience is that early on this year, or in 2019, I said that I was going to do a marathon. So it was just this seed in my mind that I'd only done half of what I said I was going to do. And I guess it's just important to note that it's good to watch yourself like that and have that voice and listen to it and acknowledge it and not just push it aside, because you really can't have anyone else having higher expectations of you than yourself. And it's not to say that I live up to those words every single day in every single thing that I do, but even if I'm not doing something that I said I was going to do, at least that voice is there telling me, Myles, you didn't do it. You didn't do it. And even if I'm trying to think about something else, it's just nagging me that I didn't do this thing. So yeah, it's really the concept of finishing what you start, I guess. And it all starts with just saying it. Your words are powerful, your thoughts are powerful. And yeah, what ended up happening was I ran that half marathon, knew that I could do more. So this, again, health got put to the back burner after that half marathon, back up in the school hustle, back up in the business hustle. And then went home for Christmas. And again, touching base with family. This is just a constant in their life. They're exercising all the time. So simultaneously, I'm on my phone scrolling through Instagram, and this one guy that I follow, his name is Jesse Itzler. I don't even know what to categorize him as. He's an entrepreneur, but as any entrepreneur does, they just kind of do crazy things or things against the norms of society. And this guy was doing the Calendar Club Challenge in February, which only has 29 days. But nonetheless, it's a huge feat. And this guy kind of put this challenge on my radar. He didn't personally single me out. It was just that voice in my head saying, like, Myles, you didn't do that distance. And again, just to repeat the concepts of the challenge, every day of the month you run the equivalent of that in miles. So I figured, okay, it's a gradual concept. It's all mapped out for me. It's a defined time frame. Like, there really wasn't a lot of things telling me why not to do this. And this was April 27th, 28th, 29th. So this is before the world was lit on fire, basically, by a global health pandemic. But nonetheless, I remember just telling like my friends and family, like, oh, this guy is doing this, it's real cool. And then I said, well, I know I could do it, so I just said I would. And and yeah, a lot of people were just like, well, like, oh, all the reasons why you shouldn't or whatnot. And I specifically remember my dad even saying, Myles, like, give it 1 or 2 months and just train for it. And I just remember distinctly telling him, like, Dad, the world could go to shit in a month or two, you know. And it's funny because the world literally within the month of March, just as I say, was dipped in kerosene and lit as a fireball. Um, so yeah, I went on this challenge, and obviously, like the first half, it's manageable distances, and the concept is that within the 24 hours of that day, you can break up the run anyhow you like, and you just have to get the distance in. Whether you're walking, crawling, sprinting, doesn't matter. Do it in one go, do it in 10 goes. Um, so yeah, I just had those numbers to work with. It was like, what day is it? Okay, that day equivalents to that many miles. That many miles is equivalent to that many kilometers. Do I want to do that many kilometers in one go? More times than not, it was no. So I ended up splitting the runs into two. And that was a good little mind game just to be like, okay, uh, like I didn't have to. And I guess this is another kind of cornerstone concept that I got from the challenge, was that even though the goal was very big in talking to people about it, saying, oh, I'm gonna run every, I made very careful notes of saying I'm gonna try to run every single day of this month. um, and basically all I had to do was focus on what that day had in store for me. And at most, I might have looked at the week and just done the math on what miles to kilometers and what was I more likely to do, just to have a rough plan. Um, but yeah, otherwise it was basically focusing on the now and being like, okay, if I have to run this many kilometers now, I'm just gonna do it. And even if it was one of three runs for that day, I wasn't thinking about the second run or the third run. I was thinking about the end of that first run. And not even the end. Sometimes I would be like, okay, if it's 8 kilometers, then I have to do 4 kilometers, or maybe like 3 1/3 or something. I don't know. It was just a lot of quick maths um, to basically break down a big number into smaller numbers and uh, break it into bite-sized chunks and get it done, basically. And that's the beauty of running, is that you literally don't even need anything beyond two able feet. So hard luck to anyone out there that can't relate. But um, yeah, even if it's not running, it's like the main concept of this challenge was to just take anything you're doing on one day and just constantly double up on it. If it's not doubling, just keep adding on it, and eventually turn that add into a multiply. And through small repetitive actions, you can just see huge results. And now I'm sounding like one of those guys, but yeah, it's these cliche things that kind of just bring you through these big goals. Um, so yeah, at the end of the day, as I mentioned before, a whole health pandemic went on, and it was quite a unique thing to be setting a challenge for myself to go and basically get out the door and do a ridiculous distance while the world basically is telling me to stay inside. And that was just an absolutely I mean, it was just a moral dilemma, right? And at no point looking at this challenge do you think, oh, a moral dilemma is gonna have to pop up. But it did, and basically within these times, I'm sure everyone can relate. You're just constantly talking to your close family and friends, and I just remember talking to my mom one night and telling her like just what I was doing. And I don't know, you know, your mom is always gonna have that soft spot for you. So she was basically in tears, just thinking about the fact that she's in Trinidad and I'm up here in Canada, just purposefully getting out the door multiple times a day for long periods at a time. And yeah, like, you don't want to put those your loved ones through that kind of emotional toll. So as I say, it was quite unique. You don't ever find yourself in that situation, but um, what ended up happening was I made a decision to basically run a significant chunk of the challenge inside my apartment, which I measured out to be like 21 steps from the front to the back. And and yeah, it's not a straight line. It was curves, and I don't know. It's technically I don't want to discount it, because obviously it's kind of a two-edged sword. Like, on one hand, you can consider Myles as being this crazy caged lion, which in some sense is absolutely true. Um, so in that way, having done those kind of distances indoors, there was one day that I literally ran a marathon straight inside my house. Um, and basically, it made you realize, okay, this is the value of being outside. And I'm sure a lot of people would have had that revelation during these times of self-isolation and quarantine, and just generally staying in your quarters. Like, it's just gonna make us appreciate all these small things. So I did eventually get back outside, just in a distanced way, because I live close to downtown Toronto, so it's kind of hard to get away from people. And I mean, it's not like Trinidad where things are completely on lockdown and it's like basically illegal to be outside. Um, but yeah, like, you just don't want to take the risk, you know. I'm running, and running is really centered around health, and yeah, it would have just been stupid to end up with this thing. Um, so I decided to do that, and it got me through to the end. And I say it's a double-edged sword, because at the same time, it's not bundling up in 3 layers of clothes and having to go through these like worries and thinking about my mom. And it's literally just like, okay, I'm doing my work 1 second, the next second it's like, okay, let me just, how much do I have to run? Okay, let's not just jump into it, let's prepare. So if I need like a drink here, and fill up my water bottle and do my little stretch, and like, then just go. And I'm in my apartment, and whether I'm walking or I'm running, it's just in here. Um so yeah, it's kind of not facing the elements and not facing hills, and yeah, it takes a lot of stuff out of the equation and kind of makes it a bit more streamlined. Um so yeah, big up to my creativity, to be honest. And if you don't big up yourself, no one will. Um so yeah, other than that challenge, I made it to the end. My legs were kind of fine a couple of days after, let's say like 36 hours after, my legs were feeling kind of normal. So Cubby, Rosa's brother, he's never going to be listening to this, so not even going to big him up. Just kidding, big up Cub. His bike is still here, and he's in Trinidad, so I'm basically just now using it as a mini whip and hitting Tommy Thompson. It's that nature trail that I've been posting all those pictures from, of the Toronto skyline, and it's just nice little getaway from. It makes you completely forget that you're surrounded by all these people and all these buildings, and just allows you to kind of indulge yourself in nature. So as long as it's still legal, I'm gonna do my socially distanced thing. So yeah, to kind of go beyond this challenge, I mean, I basically still have school as a full-time student. Obviously, within this month, everything switched to online. So basically just knocking out assignments. There's just this one assignment for a class I have called Applied Economic Analysis, and I'm using this database called R. And I don't know, to the average person, it's just gibberish, and then to the average economist, it's like the easiest thing. So I'm just in this. I mean, this has been the dilemma that I'm in for my entire degree, right? Is I chose this degree that I'm genuinely interested in, and I'm always going to be proud of myself for that decision, rather than just choosing something that I think I'll be good at, so I'll get an easy A kind of thing. I technically took like one of the hardest hardest classes because I suck at math naturally, and I shouldn't say that out loud because I'm just like not naturally geared to decipher codes and numbers, and I'm more of a qualitative guy. So it's good to recognize your strengths, and yeah, economics is one of those double-sided swords where I think that one of the main things that the field needs, uh, yeah, is basically qualitative people, in the sense that too much quantitativeness is it's very rigid, and if you take things too literally, or maybe if you're not even able to explain it properly to the people you need to explain it to, then what's the point of doing all that work? So yeah, I don't necessarily consider myself a messenger by any means, um, but I think I have some kind of role to play in taking. I just think it's a valuable skill, I guess, to have in deciphering codes. So even though I'm not good at it, I'm gonna learn the fundamentals and then let the people who are just naturally gifted at it have a crack, and just focus on what I'm good at and surround myself with people who are good at the things that I'm not good at. Um, so yeah, basically that one assignment, uh, which is why I started talking about all this with applied economic analysis. Big up my teacher, Professor Peng. um, she, for the past couple of days, has just responded to like 10, 15 emails a day of just the stupidest questions possible. Me asking a question on every line of code, like, what is this? What is that? How do I do this? Between yesterday and today, she did like 2 different Zoom calls with me, literally just to walk me through this project. And the only reason why I'm taking this so seriously, it's not to say I'm a overachiever or anything. This is just the hardest class I'm taking, and yeah, basically she's a G because without her I might have failed this class, and with her help I am likely going to pass this class. And I'm not gonna say that I have it in the bank until I do. So after I finish recording this, you done know that I am hitting that assignment. So um, I mean, beyond that, I guess looking forward to this week. Um, yeah, like it's kind of weird not having all that running to do anymore because it took up a lot of time, and I guess it just made my relationship with time very strong, in the sense that, again, um, that little voice in your head that lets you know when you're not doing something is there now for most of the time. And I mean, it's always been there, but obviously, after doing a challenge like that takes up a lot of time, you have to find the time. And then when the challenge is done, I've found all this time that exists. And I knew it exists, but now I know what it's like to really operate for that amount of time, and how long your days can feel in a good way. It almost feels like you're just squeezing every drop out of life as much as possible, which is how you want to live every day, ideally. Um, so yeah, basically, what I'm planning to do this week is wake up as early as possible. It's funny because for however long as I can remember, I've been trying to wake up at 5 a.m. and it's just, maybe it's happened a handful of times in the past couple of years, but I've always said like, right, I keep this journal, and I'm always like the night before, right, Myles, 5 a.m. let's go. And it kind of sets me up for failure because I'm just never really prepared to wake up at 5 a.m. And so I guess I'm putting this out there, but the goal is to to wake up at 5 a.m. and really just maximize the day. I mean, it's firstly beating the race against the sun, and also not even the sun, but more so people. Like the worst thing in the world is to me is to wake up into problems and wake up into a scenario, or even something as small as a message on your phone or a call waking you up. Um, it just completely, it's the first thing you do that day. And if your life was a storybook and you had to start the script on that day, and you saw that the script started with you checking this person's message, you instantly give that person your complete waking time, energy, and attention. And to me, that's just a luxury. So basically, I might sound crazy in saying that I want to wake up at 5 a.m., but it's to reap that reward of those hours that no one else is up. And you just have complete creative control, basically. Like, you have no external influences other than what you want to induce. But personally, if I wake up that early, you're just so much more conscious of the fact that you're up, and why the hell are you up at this time? It better be for a good reason. So to me, that's always a good time just to get inside my head and basically write out, okay, if I could remember the dream that I had, maybe I'd write it down, or just write down whatever I'm thinking. It's usually what time I woke up, which wasn't 5, and saying good job or not, usually not. But it's important to have small wins, right? So especially at the beginning of your day. So yeah, this coming week, I'm trying to wake up at 5 a.m. Every single day except Sunday. So whether it is I'm gonna screenshot that on my phone or something just to put it out there, just like I did with the running, then so be it, because that to me is the one key to kind of opening up your day. Once you wake up early, you have the whole day ahead of you. And even if you do have to take like a little midday nap, that's even better, to be honest, because then you just have a whole second half of your day where you don't have to operate the second half of the day thinking, oh my God, I've been up since this time, can't wait to crash. You can almost have like a second day in a sense, and then still crash, because who the hell has 2 days in one day? So, um, so yeah, that is a big one that I haven't started as yet. I mean, I've been waking up at like 6:30, 7:30, which is still rather early to a lot of people. But again, you don't want to, you want to live up to your own standards, basically. Um, or I'm not necessarily telling people what to do, but at least personally, I don't want to find myself in a situation where I consider someone else's opinion of me more important than my own opinion of me. So um, basically, that's it. Otherwise, it's not just the fact that I want to wake up early. I have to submit this assignment for tomorrow. After that, I have another case study to do. I have three final exams to study for in the course of the next 2 weeks. So it's really just breaking it down. It's like, okay, how much is this exam worth? How much do I need to get in that exam to get the grade that I want? Big up Ryerson for basically making everything an optional pass fail. Not necessarily pass fail, but basically they give you the option to not put your GPA on that credit that you receive for this semester. So yeah, it's pandemic time, guys. I'm not trying to be excellent academically right now, unfortunately, but yeah, I'm knocking out those assignments, those exams, just hustling part-time for this electric scooter company. More to come on that in the coming weeks, but that's a little seed planted there. And then otherwise, one last thing that I just want to get some accountability on is basically these interviews that I did a couple months ago. So I would say at the end of December, I took it upon myself, complete like just passion project initiative, I came across this list of Canadians, people who were either living in Canada or born in Canada, and it was called the Top 30 Under 30 Sustainable Leaders in or from Canada. And just reading like these people's like what they had done, it was quite inspiring, and it was just following my gut, and I was like, right, those people are inspiring. um, and it just happened to be that through this professor that I had, he knew, or he was like best friends and still is best friends with the CEO of the magazine that published this list. So just being me, I'm persistent and I like to follow my gut. And I basically ended up getting in touch with the CEO, and through him, he validated the idea of just thinking like, yeah, it would be great to interview these people, um, get some audio content. And to me, the main purpose was like, right, here's some incredible stories, and here is a platform, which was a website that was not necessarily in my mind going to get the most traction. And maybe this is the way that I'm trying to justify it to people, in the sense that to make it not look selfish. um, in the sense that I'm trying to do this for other people. I'm trying to get other young people to basically look at these examples and say, holy crap, these people are only this age. For example, I won't throw any names actually. And look at all they've done in these fields that are increasingly relevant in this day and age. And that's, to me, the name of the game, is just figuring out, okay, what is the most, maybe not the most productive thing we can be doing, but what makes the most sense to spend our time on, giving everything considered. So a holistic perspective. A lot of people call it people, planet, profit. But to me, it's just not thinking all about the money, and including some kind of morality into things. And I took an environmental economics class that really goes into all that. So I'm not going to boil with any economics, but yeah, I think these people are onto something, and I thought that the stories were worth sharing, basically. So there was a list of 30, and so far I've interviewed about 20 of them. And I have all these recordings in the exact same format that I'm doing this recording right now. And I just have not gotten around to editing them, whether it's editing the audio, including any kind of visual in it. I have just not touched these interviews since, let's say, like mid-January. I finished 20 of the 30 interviews. 10 people haven't gone back to me, and that was after multiple attempts at reaching out. And I mean, I'm never a guy to take no for an answer, so I'll give it one last swing. As always, there's always one last swing. But otherwise, my main swing is to really just publish what I do have on my hands. So I'm not necessarily focusing on the people that don't want to talk, but the people that were willing to talk. I personally got value out of these stories, but on a selfish level, I think that recapping it will only 10x the learnings that I'll get from it. Only, not only from them, but even like listening to myself. I'm sure I'm gonna listen to this exact recording and just be like, holy crap, do I really sound like that? And then just kind of have that voice in my head, is like, okay, if I don't like how I sound, then what do I want to sound like? And again, at the end of the day, you want to be checking yourself with family and friends and close people, who know the real you, so that at any given point you can be like, right, was that genuine? And if not, then scrap it, because yeah, what's the point of doing something that isn't genuine? So yeah, just to cap things off, I guess, I have no clue how I'm gonna publish this, but I can say publish, but I'm just gonna put it out there however I can. Whoever made it to this long in, like big man thing, just message me right now. Because yeah, like, who the hell takes 35 minutes of their day to listen to Myles? But yeah, I would hope that close family and friends would. So, and if not, it's at least a good feedback loop to hear my own voice and think about what's important enough to say out loud. So, thanks for listening again. And yeah, just keep some dialogue going, whether it's with someone else, with an idea. You can completely steal any words that I said because they probably weren't my words. Well, they are, but I don't know what it's called when everything is just a sample of something else. Um, but yeah, just keep the feedback loop coming uh, and yeah, hopefully there'll be more of these to come. So, again, bless up to everyone who listened. And yeah, big things to come. So stay tuned. Peace.